Good evening and thanks. I understand this is sort of the final session, and most of you are tired hearing lots of funders the whole day, and so let me just try to make a quick session on what I want to share with you. I'm sure that some of you would have either heard from me or my colleagues the evangelizing idea of open network for quite some time. The last one and a half years we had been doing that. So I'm not going to again tell you the concept. So today, just now, what I'm going to do is from concept to case study. Case study in the context of D2C, because you're all D2C champions. So that's where I'm going to do, and just say that and do some crystal gazing of how this is going to sort of change the landscape of digital commerce, and particularly what's going to be the impact for the D2C brands like you are. So before I go into, let me just give you a quick update of where we are. In 2023 January is when we made our presence felt to a larger audience, or a larger public in Bangalore in few pin codes. That time we had, because finally it's not a platform, it's a network. It means that it moves only if there are some buyers and some sellers coming on their own volition and making themselves visible in the network. So in that month we had something like 500 merchants who are sort of convincing their friends and relatives to do some transaction and see that it works. So altogether we had a princely number of 1,200 transactions in January 23 in Bangalore, few pin codes. But the good thing is that we have moved quite a lot forward. We started with, like I said, 500 merchants, 1,200 transactions, and this month we will do about 13.5 million transactions with about 7 lakh merchants. So it's been growing that way exponentially. Like last year, this time it was about 2 million, this time it's about 13.5 million, which means that we're talking something like about just short of 500,000 transactions every day, which is still a tip of the iceberg, but it has started becoming something like a meaningful number compared to the digital commerce independent platforms, like whether it is in food or whether it is in consumer. I mean, still not as big, not anywhere near, but meaningful size. And in some of the towns, in some of the segments, like some of the towns like Bangalore, in some segments we have even reached 15-20% market share, which I think is a decent achievement in the 12 months, not 12 to 18 months. So let me just try to focus on how this could. Let's try to look from the lens of a D2C business. See, the way I understand D2C business, the key things for is that D2C means, in my first impression, I'm stereotyping, may not be the best thing, is that they are innovators. They have something unique to sell, and they are not big established players with a huge pocket. They have a huge idea. They have more things between their ears than in their pockets. Okay, so that's how I see them. Of course, there are exceptions everywhere. Some of them have very, very deep pockets. They make this idea and they said that get the produce, and we want to create. First thing is what? Once I have a product, I need to create access to market. Established players has strong distribution channel, very powerful logistics, optimum logistics, etc., to take their products to all their customers across the country or internationally. But early or even mid-sized D2C firms cannot afford to think in the same kind of stuff. So the first thing that we think about is a market access. So market access, there are two ways. One is build up your own website, portal, e-commerce site, Shopify sites, or whatever it is there. That is one, of course. But then it becomes, getting customers used to this unique, individual websites or portals, not so easy. Retention, consumer acquisition become very, very expensive, and people's ability to retain also, like even if like something like me or any of us sitting here, we are so used to a standard platform's name because that's what you hear everything. I may know some of the very interesting product, but I don't know, hey, what's a website name? Or let me just Google it and find out, and those kind of stuff. So these are all areas of resistance. It's holding back. That's one challenge. Second challenge is like I said, the biggest challenge is the logistics cost. So if you are not a very big guy, established logistics player want to give you a very special deal. And if you want to have a pretty, so if you are small, it's practically impossible to get a deal. You get at the retail price, which is significantly high. Not only that, you will need for efficiency and seamless movement, you also need technical integration, legal integration, commercial, all of them. Procedure has to be agreed, contract has to be finalized. You need to have an API call or whatever is the legal integration with the logistics provider site and so on and so forth. That's the next challenge. So the option, and the third one is like, even if you need to have some bulk transfers to a location and then make loose delivery in that place, necessarily you need warehousing. There again, same thing. It's practically, if you are from Tumkur, and how do I find out who's the best warehouse provider in Delhi, unless I come, talk to people and figure it out. And there again, unless you have a decent side, nobody want to talk to you. So these becomes a challenge. So that's why you have, like either said, you have the deep pockets to invest in all of them, or you give somebody who's like an end-to-end provider. Okay. At a certain, it comes at a price, and it's at a certain amount of freedom being sacrificed in building your brand, in building your terms and condition, in getting your customer data, regular customer data, to have a visibility for the demand of the products like yours coming in, to have warehousing as a service, to have logistics being tied up. All of them comes at a significant price. And even your reputation is what you built is within a platform. Let's say that if you're not in a platform, all the reputation history is also gone. So all this become a challenge. So that's why the idea of an open network that can be a very, very powerful solution for you. So one, like I said, I'm sure that you would have heard conceptual presentations, number of them. So let me give you a very specific case study what I have observed in the last 15 months. See, when we started this open network, open network is enabled for every domain. So, but we said we'll start with some of the very difficult domains, which essentially was grocery and food. In fact, my colleagues were saying that how can you even think about daring into start selling, food delivery, because that's something that has to happen within 1 hour, half an hour preferably. Somebody is hungry making an order and cannot delay for 1 day, half a day, and it cannot get spoiled and so on and so forth. So it was a difficult segment to have. There again, if you look at practically in a strict sense, if you look at food is a D2C business. Especially ready cooked food. Unless you are a very well established large player, like with a national chain, like all the names I use are reference like Domino's or McDonald's or something. If you are a good Chinese food maker in Chandni Chowk, you don't have a similar kind of influence to buy you logistics or anything from any of the established player or integration. So even demand, how many people will run Gupta Chinese stores on website, and how is he going to publicize it? So that's where we said let's try to bring this idea of an open network. So we had an early adopter like a startup like Growth Falcon, and a small sized platform like Magic Pin coming and say, hey, we believe in this and we are going to let's work on this together. And one good thing about these people, the way they looked at was, they said, this will succeed only if as a community we succeed. Not by, in a very platform-centric world, say that only I want to succeed. Whether the community succeeding as making a movement is not the normal thing for a platform-centric world. We said, let's try to create this one. And so, in fact, some of those individual players started creating SDK to work in an open network and give it to others and say, hey, you also go and set up this shop. either a buyer application or seller application in the ONDC network. Let there be more community get built up. So few hundred, and it started showing its results. While the early person who came practically between the 1 or 2 people had 99% of market share. Today, they have much smaller 30% market share, but not that their volume came down. In fact, their volume went 8 to 10 times. So the idea of a community made a big difference. And the second item that made a huge impact, like I said today, food alone, this month there will be more than 2 million transactions. Last year this time it might have been 200,000 transactions. What made a big difference? He said, can we have the building blocks of commerce? What is one of the very, very critical building block for the Chinese Gupta stores making Chinese khana in Chandni Chowk is logistics. Either छोटू को भेजेगा, कहाँ तक, कितना छोटू को भेजेगा, how many छोटू will be available, ठीक है थोड़ा, or how do you make the visibility, how many places. So that's why I said when the network collectively is a Paytm and the PhonePe and Ola and Dainik Jagran, all of the people are saying that we have some digital consumers, I'll make our consumers visible to these Gupta stores. So Gupta doesn't have to now go and tie up. Let's say earlier if Gupta had to be visible in PhonePe and in Paytm and in Dainik Jagran and in Ola and in Tata New, first of all, nobody will even be interested in them. Secondly, it would have been very, very expensive. Now with one single integration that he has done in ONDC protocol, he is now visible to everybody. In fact, it sort of, because we started first and we sort of encourage that, today all the new entrants, the buying application, many of the new entrants into the ONDC network are starting with the food. Hey, these guys seem to have got things cracked, and that's how from 200,000 last year this time to 2 million this time food has sort of grown. So that means market access, one, at very, very competitive price. Second thing is logistics as a service without any separate integration. So we were talking to many of the logistics service provider. Ola took a lead. In fact, in a way, I was quite surprised and happy that Ola took the lead and came, because in the other segment we did was mobility, which was directly in the competition of the business. But they said we believe in the idea of an open network. While it is coming directly in competition to my ride-hailing business, but I believe that this is how it is going to broaden. So, and he said that I'm not going to do, when I'm going my EV logistics, which is very competitive, I'm not going to go and do any deal I'm not going to go and do a deal with, let's say, Domino's or Magic Pen or Swiggy or Zomato or anything. I'm going to say that I'm going to make a network-wide offer, a very competitive offer. So, even if you are a Gupta store in Chandni Chowk selling Chinese khana, he can get the same price as almost what Domino's can get. And that too, there is no need of separate legal contracts, separate digital integration, nothing. There is a logistics buyer application available. Either if you have a digitally enabled, you can integrate them together. Otherwise, you can, just like you go and say, I want pizza, I say, I want logistics. I want it from Chandni Chowk to Green Park. I want to deliver it to Koshy's house. And I want it so he gets the same price offer. And when that became available, it is only for hyperlocal that it became available, and started with few towns and it's increasing. So it became, suddenly the logistics cost in the open network became as competitive or more competitive than even some of the large platforms can offer. So that's what second element that really helped us to grow. In fact, I'm in the hyperlocal logistics, it has gone so, like for example, when we launched that only in April, there are a few hundred transactions every day. It is today, it's about 70 to 75,000 transactions happen purely buying logistics. From grocery shop, from food stores, all of them. Because they're getting it very, very competitive. So the idea, otherwise, even a logistics, but more people are coming in, because earlier, if I am setting up a logistics operations, I would have to go and find big customers whom I can convince, hey, You have now, you're using delivery. I'm just saying all the names are just for fun. I mean, the reference. Or you're using Shiprocket, but why don't you use mine? They say, why? Why should I take the headache of integrating? You're such a new guy, no relevance. You become big, competitive that time. Whereas now there is no such need. Make himself visible to a logistics seller application. Because that's finally, it's nothing but a service. So what's the vision of ONDC? Any product or service which is catalogable should be made available on the network using the ONDC protocol. Just like today everybody has a website using HTTP. HTTP website is only for discovery. Here it is discovery and commerce. Contract and orders, all of them. So now that it is available as a service, it can be anywhere be bought. There are two interesting developments. Everything is happening in the last 2-3 months. There are two interesting developments that I want to share. One is that today when I said about 70-75,000 hyperlocal transactions do happen in the ONDC network, it's not just for the people who bought stuff in the ONDC product at all, ONDC network at all. It's somebody who, at least about today about 10% of it is somebody just buying logistics. It's like somebody got an order to deliver something not in the ONDC network, but he doesn't have like a Chotu at home, Chotu at the shop. He's just buying this as a service, and that's growing. That is very interesting development. Second is, without again giving the names, some of the established players, because everybody has their own times of surplus and deficit. Now we are all familiar with the idea of grid in the electricity. When I have surplus, I can throw it to the network. When I have shortage, I can buy from the network. Same idea is happening in logistics just now. There are some very established players say that I can throw it on a network as supply when I have capacity extra. Want to take it. If I have shortage, I'll buy from you. And in fact, like I said, now some of the people who buy logistics as a service in the network are the people who are doing other platforms at all, which is fine. Because the idea is create this open network. So this has become a big opener. Now I am saying that the same things are applicable in D2C. That's why I just took this particularly as an example for the food for you. And another couple of things which I am sure in the next couple of months I can sort of reassure you, like hyperlocal logistics has come as a service on there. Even intracity is already there, but has not yet picked up that kind of volume because there are more people. In the next couple of months, you will see some of the fantastic offers on intercity, non-hyperlocal logistics being available. I'm sure that is going to be a really something great for the D2C people. And secondly, even warehouse as a service, from fully automated. There again, I'm sure that you saw the announcement by Ola, which they said they will launch by February, maybe sometime in the next few months. Even a pallet-sized capacity that I can buy. For now, imagine the guy from Tumkur who's got some special clothing to sell into Delhi, and find that I'm just jokingly saying that he says that Onam time I want to get some Onam special for all the Mallus in Delhi. I'll only remember Mallu because I'm a Mallu. So say that today, he doesn't even know where the warehouse to go. Now if you imagine that he can just log in and say, I want 2 pallet size to store something for 2 weeks. That's it. Because I'm going to give one bulk order, and I'm getting the logistics as a service to unpack, package it, and deliver it into the in South Delhi market during that Onam season. That's it. My ambition is not to create a national Veshti brand. The thing is, I want to take advantage of that opportunity. I'm just giving a very small example. So all this is possible because you are trying to build the building blocks of commerce, and that is what the open network will come. So and this is something that I'm sure that is going to make a big difference to you guys, because today, I understand because any D2C brand, these are all what I hear, the market intelligence, and my friends who are in the same business telling me, is like anywhere between 30 to 50% is their cost of digital commerce, in terms of commissions, in terms of advertising, in terms of logistics, and all of together. At the same time, your ability to build your brand also gets your brand is restricted to that walled garden. You're not across. So now imagine that there is significant saving because of the unbundled nature, because you are able to have significant saving in the cost of doing business in this one, and the saving that you can do can go into building your own brand. You become free build your own brand, your own reputation. You have the data of the demand for the product, because whenever there's I'm saying this demand for a shirt from Green Park is there, is that broadcast to all the shirt producers. So they all know that there is a demand for a shirt. Not they don't know Koshy is asking for it, but that will come to know when Koshy makes an order to Gupta ji. Gupta ji will know Koshy is the one who's buying, because it has to deliver. It's not hidden anywhere. So you get to see the demand, you get to see the full client details. You have your own reputation that is being built, which is independent of the platform. You are visible to all the buyer all the buyers coming from all buyer applications. You can make your own QR code and publish it to everybody. Say that use any of this QR code or deep links in digital commerce, etc. Social media and Facebook and Instagram, everywhere, saying that just scan this QR code using any ONDC platform, just like you scan for payment. Say that either phone pay, you don't care. Say that, scan it, that's all. You don't care what the other guy has. He can have phone pay, he can have Paytm. So here, similarly, the universal code that we just launched last month can make these kind of tools in your hand. So these are I'm sure that just like we saw the the explosion that happens in food in the last few months, we will see the similar kind of thing in D2C. In fact, we are already seeing some of the D2C brands who have sort of taken this effort to create their own demand generation and make these things available. I can see pretty decent volume that is happening in not just the food, but from fashion to electronic and so on and so forth. So this is the change in paradigm that I want to share with you, and I'm sure that this will sort of titillate your interest and start taking serious interest, and because that's the way the commerce is going to change. And I welcome all of you to be a part of it. You can either be the early adopter and benefit from it, or wait for everybody else to join. Thank you.